Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of Remax Associated Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com. Cindy Grossman. New York City born and raised, luxury retail management was her game. Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom were her jewelry playgrounds. Had enough at 38, fled to Miami, where Neiman Marcus Bal Harbour found her. Recruited to Mont Blanc, where her regional position challenged her. Met her husband 4 years ago, and Brevard County she did go. COVID hit, she needed a new career fit. Age-defying beauty with Mary Kay, she did say. And now, here's Cindy Grossman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Mesmerize the Mirror at Any Age. For our new year, 2022, I wanted to do a topic that I think is extremely important to, I'm going to base it on women, but of course it's important for men as well. Mitch, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for remembering the man.
And we decided to bring back Matt Monaghan. Thank you for being here. Just want to tell people about Matt. Matt is a native of Florida and Brevard County and was raised locally on Merritt Island. Matt has an extensive and diverse education, which includes a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's degree in taxation, and a law degree with honors. Prior to practicing law, Matt acquired his certified public accounting license, CPA, and worked in public and private accounting for several years before entering law school. Matt's unique background in law, accounting, and taxation provide a diverse perspective that is unmatched by most attorneys, that's for sure. Matt has been located in the same office in Cocoa since 1998, practicing business law, wills, trusts, probate, real estate, and asset protection for the local residents of Brevard County and Indian River County, together with clients from all over the country. That's for sure, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being here. So we want to talk about, yes, women entrepreneurship, but, you know, businesses and how it all starts. I mean, I was thinking about it because I just recently started my own business. 50 years ago, if you heard about a woman wanting to start her own business, it was like unheard of. First of all, it was, you know, not the thing to do. Women were discriminated against.
Women had traditional roles that if they were working, they worked. They were a secretary, they were a nurse, teacher, right? You know, they worked in a department store. Those were the traditional roles that women had.
Right. Not everybody in the early 1900s was like a Coco Chanel or an Elizabeth Arden doing their thing. And then, of course, my company, Mary Kay, in 1963, she just knocked it out of the park with, you know, starting that business. So, yeah, it's women entrepreneurships and women's businesses have certainly come a long way. That's for sure. Just some questions for you, Matt. How does one go about starting a business?
Yeah, I think one of the key questions you have to ask yourself when you begin a business is what form of business do you want to do? If you want to operate alone, okay, or do you want to bring on partners? Okay? Mm-hmm. That's kind of like the first key question. The second question is how are you going to fund the business? It takes a little bit of seed money usually to get started. You know, are you going to put your own money into the business? Are you going to borrow money from a bank or a lender? Or are you going to have investors come in and come in as an investor into your business? You know, those are, I think, the two primary questions. After you've already identified what kind of business you want to have, that's how you get started. You know, am I going to go alone? Am I going to bring on partners? How do I get my money?
Right.
Once you make those decisions, then let's just say you want to go it alone. Okay, you just want to be your own person in this business. Then you can decide, do you want to operate as a sole proprietorship, a limited liability company, or as a corporation.
So let's talk about the situation where someone wants to go, as you said, they start the business and they're going to want to do it, at least initially, by themselves. What are their options? Do they stay as a sole proprietorship? For example, that's what Cindy has. She's a sole proprietor. Is that sufficient? And, you know, Should she incorporate that? And if so, what are the differences between the different business structures that she could adopt?
Yeah. The simplest form is sole proprietorship. That's the default.
Right.
So if you do nothing, you're a sole proprietor automatically under the law.
Okay.
And that's simple because you just report everything on your personal tax return. Okay. And there's a schedule,
Right.
Schedule C, I believe, and it's report your self-employed income. Okay. That's fine to keep things simple. Okay. And I think that's an easy form for most people to do. But if your business becomes more complicated, then I think you probably should go to an LLC or an S corporation. Because I think if you start having too many write-offs on your personal tax return for personal assets that are shared assets, between you and the business, I think it might be better just to have a business own those assets. It might be less scrutiny under audit. If you're using your own, that's, I think, where things, get a little haywire. The other advantage of setting apart a separate business, I feel like it looks more legitimate, to potential customers and to other people you interact with on the business, environment. They see that you're an entity. Okay. It looks a little more, like you have a little bit more behind you than if you're just a sole proprietor. Third thing is, if you started as an entity and you do grow later, you're already there. You've already got the structure in place to handle a more complex business and more growth, potentially employees, without having to later on, incorporate your sole proprietorship. Okay. The other advantage is a sole proprietor has no liability protection, okay, from their business activities. So you're the show. You make a mistake, or if some other liability occurs inside of your business, you are personally liable for 100% of that. The advantage of setting up an entity like an LLC or corporation is that you're not liable, okay, for what happens inside the business. Just the business is liable. So those are the primary distinctions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now, what you mentioned, so let's say the business grows and there becomes a valid business reason for going away from a sole proprietorship. You mentioned a corporation or a limited liability company. What's the difference between those two business entities?
The LLC is a little bit simpler for a sole proprietor and perhaps more complicated for partners. Okay.
Oh.
And the reason for that is an LLC, if you're a sole proprietor and you decide to form an LLC and operate your business under the LLC, the IRS takes the position that the LLC is a look-through entity and is invisible. So you still report all of your deductions on your personal tax return. It's a disregarded entity for tax purposes, the single member LLC. But you still get some liability protection there. Okay, so you're still not liable for the business debts. However, if you form a corporation, you have the liability protection, and now the IRS sees you as a separate business entity. Okay? It recognizes S corporations as a separate entity. It doesn't do that for single member LLCs. It's good and it's bad. Okay, what we've done now is we've moved all those tax items off your personal return, but now you have to file a corporate return. Okay, so now you've picked up this extra cost and administrative hassle of having to file a Form 1120-S each year. Okay, and then that produces a Form K-1, which then dribbles down to your own personal tax return.
Oh.
So it's kind of like up the ladder of complexity, really. Sole proprietor being the most simple, single member LLC being the next most simple. You pick up the benefit of limited liability protection, okay, but you don't have to file a separate tax return. Then you graduate to the S corporation. You pick up the separate tax return now and the limited liability protection.
Okay. Now we started talking a little bit about partnerships. What's the best way to go into a partnership? Because you hear these horror stories.
Yeah, well, the thing about a limited liability company is versus a corporation for partners, okay, is that the limited liability company is kind of free range. You're kind of expected to flush out your own agreement with your partner. You're expected to sit down with your partner and get a lawyer and draft up what's called an operating agreement, where you go through every minutia of the management of the business, the division of profits, your responsibilities to each other and to the business. Everything is mashed out in this big agreement. the problem I've seen with partners starting LLCs is they never do that. And then they're kind of left with the Florida statutes, which, believe it or not, is really pretty thin when it comes to the LLCs and all these business and relationships between the parties, because they expect you to negotiate this between yourselves. If you form a corporation, it's the opposite. Corporations have a large statutory scheme that controls every aspect of a corporation: the payment of dividends, the filing of reports, management, voting rights. It's all stated in the statutes. So if you do nothing, there's already this structure there to govern things.
That's great. You know what? I think we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with Matt learning about having your own business. Thank you.
Why hire Cantwell and Goldman? At Cantwell and Goldman, PA, we take pride in what we do. That pride translates into better client service and better client results. At Cantwell and Goldman, PA, we provide high-quality legal solutions for individuals and businesses in Indian River and Brevard counties and throughout the state of Florida. Our experienced attorneys can help you with a range of legal issues, from defending a criminal charge, assistance with a commercial or residential closing, business transaction, or estate planning and probate matters. We are a full-service law firm specializing in estate planning, including trust and estates, as well as commercial and residential real estate and corporate matters throughout the state of Florida. Cantwell and Goldman, PA.
New Vision Eye Center invites you to visit Dr. Paul Minotti, Dr. David O'Brien, Dr. Stephen Tate, and Dr. Robert Reinauer for customized cataract surgery, laser vision correction, state-of-the-art glaucoma treatment and surgery, retina care, and eyelid surgery, plus general ophthalmology. New Vision Eye Center provides world-class eye care in a patient-friendly environment. 772-257-8700 or visit newvisioneyecenter.com.
It's a down-home tradition. The Fellsmere Frog Leg Festival gets hoppin' January 20th. It's the biggest frog leg festival in the world. Enjoy mouth-watering frog leg and gator tail dinners, browse hundreds of booths for unique gifts, and listen to great music and enjoy the fun carnival rides. Discover why the Fellsmere Frog Leg Festival is a January tradition for so many. Admission and parking are free. The 31st Annual Fellsmere Frog Leg Festival, January 20th through the 23rd. Details at froglegfestival.com.
This is iHeartMedia's Treasure Coast Connection.
The Treasure Coast Connection is brought to you by New Vision Eye Center.
Hi, I'm Andrea Berry, CEO of Indian River County Healthy Start Coalition. Are you pregnant or a new parent? At Healthy Start, we know that there's no playbook. So we are here to guide you, whether you have questions about what you should do first or are looking for classes on how to prepare, or just need some support during and after pregnancy. Healthy Start is here for you. Every mother, every baby, every family. That's our motto. And our personalized approach will be there for you at every step of the way. To learn more about our programs and services, visit us online at irchealthystart.org or call us at 772-563-9118.
Call New Vision Eye Center for a consultation or second opinion. Your eyesight deserves world-class eye care. Visit newvisioneyecenter.com or call 772-257-8700.
Need an enlightening pick-me-up? Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy, 599 Sherwood Avenue, Unit 110 in Satellite Beach, to energize your skin and keep it looking fabulous forever. Kristen can help with hair removal sugaring to keep your whole body smooth and conditioned. Kristen will help you refresh and defend your skin while giving you a customized facial. Cindy helps skinergize and get you camera ready for your everyday look or occasions event. Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy at 599 Sherwood Avenue, Unit 110 in Satellite Beach.
And we're back with Matt Monaghan and Mitch. Thank you so much. You're coming up with some really great, interesting questions.
Thank you. For a change, huh?
Yes. No, you always do. Some other interesting facts that I just wanted to mention is the last 20 years, women's businesses has increased 114%. Yeah, pretty crazy. 1,200 are launched every day in the U.S. 1,200, a lot. 36% of businesses, small businesses worldwide, are owned by women. Very interesting. And women's businesses generate $1.9 trillion in revenue.
Wow. I would
a lot
agree.
of
I would
money.
say half of my new startup businesses are women, at least half.
Especially with COVID, people look to do different things. Yeah, it was crazy. 47% of women started a business last year compared to 44% of men. Yeah, interesting. Now, I took my Mary Kay business kind of to the next level, and I'm doing kind of a brick and mortar with skincare, and I have a great partner, Kristen Heath, and she does sugaring and facials and fun things like that. But we came up with this great name, Skinergy, and I know we really should protect it. Tell us about that.
That's a great question. What we're talking about here is trade names.
Okay.
Okay, and you came up with a great name, Skinergy. And a lot of people are under the misconception that if they file for a corporation or an LLC, and they file for it using the name Skinergy Incorporated or Skinergy LLC, that gives them some kind of ownership or rights in the name, and it does not. We're also under the misconception that if I file a fictitious name registration, Skinergy, that gives them ownership, rights, or protection in the name, and it does not. Okay? Filing a fictitious name registration just allows you to operate under that name. Otherwise, you have to operate under your own name. The law says if you want to do business, but you're going to operate under a fictitious name, a fake name, you've got to publish it so everyone knows who that name really is.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it belongs to you. It just means now you can use that alias.
Oh.
Okay. Same thing with a corporation. Filing a corporation doesn't give you ownership in the name. It just tells everybody this is the name of the corporation. If you have a unique trade name and you think it has value, then you have to file what's called a trademark. You can either do a state trademark or a federal trademark. Most of the time, you'd want to do a federal trademark. It gives you better protection. Okay, but you have to get a patent attorney who has to go to the U.S. Trademark Office and see if your trade name is, in fact, able to be trademarked. Okay. And what we have is you have a trade name and then we have a trademark. A trade name is a word, like the word apple. Apple's not a trademark, a trade name. It can't be. It's too common. But that little picture of the apple that's on every Apple computer, that is trademark. That's unique. Okay, so the patent attorney will have to go to the patent office and see if anyone's already filed your name, okay, or trademarked it or copyrighted or anything else. And if not, then they could file it for you, and then you get protection.
Okay. Yeah, because we do also have a unique kind of logo, so that I guess is kind of the trademark.
Yep. Statewide, you can do a state trademark registration that gives you protection statewide. And what do I mean by protection? I mean that no one else can use your trade name. It belongs to you now.
Oh, okay.
If they, you can sue them, okay, get an injunction against them, tell them to stop using it.
Right.
Okay, but if you don't have a registered trademark, you cannot sue them. They can open up right next door to you.
Right. That's crazy.
Matt, you talked about certain other kinds of professionals that are needed to help a business starting out. For example, an accountant, you mentioned insurance, obviously, an attorney. If someone is starting a business or is already in business, how do they go about finding the team to help them put these pieces together?
I think professional and personal referrals are still the number one way. Okay, I really do. Especially if you're just starting out. Anybody can build a website now.
Right.
Every website looks impressive. So it's hard to pick someone off the internet. It really is. If you don't have anything else, you can do that. But I still think I still rely on myself on personal and professional referrals. And yeah, putting together that core team is an important part. You know, now these days, I think you need to have an IT person on that team.
Oh, yeah.
To help you with, technical issues, setting up your website, setting up your email, protection from hacking. So the IT guy is now on the team right there with your CPA and your lawyer.
Right. I would think so, with all the hacking that goes on. And
unless
all
you're
the
very
problems.
sophisticated with it, but it's a key team member.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure in your field, you have to be very well protected.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Right. Now, going back a little bit to the corporation versus the LLC, what does one benefit better with tax purposes at all?
No, and yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Sounds like a typical lawyer answer, doesn't it?
Exactly. Because it depends on who you are.
okay.
Neither one of them, an LLC, if neither one of them pay any corporate level tax. So there's no such thing as an LLC tax, and there's no such thing as a S corporation paying tax. C corporations pay tax. S corporations do not. LLCs do not. LLCs and corporations both pass their profits out to their owners. Okay, it's called a pass-through entity. So all the tax and profits get reported and paid on your personal income tax return. Here is the key difference. Okay, if you have an LLC, because it's disregarded for tax purposes, okay, all of your income is considered self-employment income, just like you were a sole proprietor. That means you have to pay self-employment taxes on all of your income. If you had an S corporation, you'd only have to pay self-employment taxes on the portion of the S corporation income that you characterize as salary. The portion that you can characterize an S corporation as dividends is not subject to self-employment tax. So you can get a pretty significant tax savings there just by doing that, bifurcating the money coming out of the business between salary and dividends. But that can only be done with an S corporation. An LLC, all the profits are all subject to self-employment tax.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it seems like there's no perfect answer. It's only the best of, I don't know, the best of, you make the best of the situation you can. There's no, absolutely, this is wonderful.
Yes.
It's like, well, this is better, but it's not as good here.
Exactly. Each one of them has their pros and cons.
Absolutely.
And there's not one that's like the superhero of them all.
Okay. So then this is my next question. What do you suggest? A woman wants to start her own business, whether it's a salon or, even a chiropractor office, or even a medical doctor wants to open an office. What is the best way? Like, what would you say?
I think she should go see a lawyer. Okay. And sit down with them and explain what they're doing, because all those things are different.
Right.
Somebody like a chiropractor is going to have depreciable assets, and they're going to have a lot of equipment.
Right.
Those tables are very expensive. They're probably going to have a business lease. Okay. These are all things I'd rather see inside of a corporation.
Oh, okay.
If you're just someone performing personal services,
right?
Like yourself, maybe
Yes.
Where you don't really have a whole lot of business assets, right?
Right.
Or then you can probably get away with being a sole proprietor.
Okay.
But if you're performing personal services, that might result in some kind of liability.
Right.
Then maybe you want to do just a single member LLC.
Oh, okay.
So it's a case by case basis.
You should talk to your attorney.
Yes, I should, for sure. And with a partnership, so it would be, you could do an LLC in a partnership.
Yes, if you're partnering up with somebody, you definitely have to do either a corporation or a limited liability company, an LLC.
Okay.
And only do the LLC if you're intending to sit down with a lawyer and do the work and spend the legal fees.
Right.
Okay. Otherwise, just form a corporation, give half the shares to each of you, off you go.
All right. Sounds good. I have to do that. Sometimes you want to get started quickly, but you really should take the time.
One more thing I will throw in there.
Please.
If you're starting a business with a partner, it's best to decide who does the lawyer represent.
Oh, okay.
I'm not big on representing multiple people in a corporation. I like just representing one person.
Okay.
Both parties probably have to get their own.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Where can people reach you for this wonderful advice?
You can reach me at our phone number, 321-639-1320.
And ask for Matt Monaghan. He's the man. He can help you in many, many ways. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for coming back, Matt. You're a brave guy.
I hope you invite me back again.
Oh, of course. Thanks, Mitch.
My pleasure. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Happy New Year, everyone.